Hey y'all, it's Kim. So this is more of the investigative report from Detective Zaki Hazou from Strongsville PD. Of course, investigating the crash of Mackenzie Shirilla that took Davion and Dominic from us. Well, from his family, but from humanity. But anyway, here we are, August 16th, 2022. At 9:06, the statement of Brett Stanislaw, the captain from Berea Fire Department. Berea Fire Department Captain Brett Stanislaw emailed me a signed statement for Berea FD CAD number 22-1752 or Strongsville CAD number 22-086777. A printout of the statement was enclosed in the case jacket under the witness tab and in the original folder. I was the officer in charge for Berea Medic 1 that was dispatched as a mutual aid ambulance for a single car MVA or motor vehicle accident that occurred on 7/31 of 2022 at 6/21/17 at the address of 11792 Alameda Drive, Strongsville, Ohio 44149. Berea Med 1 was dispatched at 6:28 and 26 and arrived on scene at 6:37:28, so about 9 minutes later, 9 minutes 2 seconds. BFD began assisting SFD companies and removing the driver of the vehicle who was laying on her right side entrapped by the dashboard of the car due to the excessive heavy front end damage. Let me pull this closer. My eyes seem blurry this morning, even with the glasses. Okay. PT or the patient was removed from the vehicle directly onto a backboard, then to BFD cot at 6:48, which began our patient care contact. Driver of vehicle was 17-year-old female Mackenzie Shirilla, date of birth 8/2 of 2004. Patient was alert to name only and not to location, events, or time, and patient was moved to ambulance for initial treatment until life flight arrived on scene. Once in the ambulance, initial care was begun. I conducted a hands-on head-to-toe rapid trauma assessment. During the trauma assessment, I found what appeared to be a quart-sized Ziploc bag of large quantity of mushrooms underneath patient's shirt in the center of her chest, and a black plastic square case that appeared to be 4 inches by 4 inches in size, tucked in her waistband. I removed both items from the patient. At this point, I do not remember if I handed directly to an SPD officer or placed on our bench seat and then handed the items directly to the SPD officer. So I'm sure the police department for Strongsville. I was the only one that handled the 2 items removed from the patient, and upon noticing the SPD officer in our ambulance, I gave them to him. Neither of the items were opened by myself at any time, and we continued with our patient care and transferred patient care to life flight personnel at 7 o'clock and 37 seconds. Rosie Graham's father cancels her interview. Let me get my sweater. Daniel Graham, redacted. Rosie's father left me a voicemail canceling an interview with his daughter. He explained that the decision to cancel was based on Rose's doctor's recommendation, given her mental and psychological status after the crash. I returned Graham's call and wished Rosie well. I asked him to call me when Rosie is able to talk. August 17th, 2022, Natalie Shirley left me a voicemail letting me know about rumors that David Tyler Proctor was planning on assaulting Mackenzie upon her release from the hospital, and she requested that I address the rumor with him. August 22nd, 2022, Detective Vanek received an email from Mick Polo from NCDS Medical Building at 19645 Progress Drive. Polo attached a photo showing a vehicle traveling on Progress Drive on July 31st, 2022 at approximately 5:52 hours. Given the lighting conditions and distance, the make and model of the vehicle are unknown. Also, the difference in the time posted on the surveillance footage in the city camera was not determined. Didn't Rosie Graham say she drove by that day? Just saying. At one point, I think that's what I heard. Okay, so at 9:50, Natalie, this woman, Natalie Shirilla calls about mean people. I called Natalie back and explained to her the best way to report threats to police. She was advised to call 911 if she sees someone around her residence or to call the non-emergency number for rumors. What? I overheard Mackenzie say that Rosie and Bubba this is so stupid. That Rosie and Bubba were the ones who heard the rumors directly. I urged her to have them call me. 10:17, I called David Tyler Proctor. He did not answer, and I was unable to leave him a voicemail because it was full. 10:17, I called David. Oh, excuse me, I said that already. 10:19, I called Deanna Fosnight, David Tyler Proctor's mom. That was Mackenzie's ex-boyfriend. She took my phone number down and told me she will have him call. Yeah, call me. Okay, so at 12 o'clock, phone interview with Tasneem Alfar. I called Tasneem Alfar, redacted, who goes by Tess. She had known Mackenzie since the summer of 2021. Although they hung out as a group, as part of a group. They were not close friends. I wanted to know from her about Mackenzie's driving. Oh man, Tess described Mackenzie as a reckless driver who tended to speed in residential areas. Hold on, I want to take a picture of this. She recounted from personal experience. Give me a second. Uh, she recounted from personal experience an incident whereby she was a passenger in a vehicle Mackenzie was driving. According to her, they were en route to South Park Mall in Strongsville. When she told Mackenzie to slow down, Tess mentioned two friends who might be able to shed more light on this: Natalie Blaha and Hope, unknown last name. When asked about Dominic and Mackenzie's relationship, Tess said they fought a lot. She described Mackenzie as selfish, who threw people under the bus. According to her, Mackenzie was disrespectful to her mother and father, especially in front of others. Tess seemed reluctant to provide more information. At the time of the phone call, she was starting her freshman year at Kent State University and did not want to get involved. She did, however, mention that she heard rumors about Mackenzie having used acid, cocaine, and marijuana, although she never witnessed it. I want to take a picture of this. Hold on. I know this is kind of an old case, but hold on, because of the crash documentary and all the other stuff that's come out, it's like it's resurfaced. But also, she doesn't need to get out of prison, I don't think. That's my opinion. Anyway, 12:52, I called Natalie Blaha, redacted. She was identified by Tess and Davian's parents as someone who was close to Mackenzie. Natalie did not answer. I left her a voicemail requesting a call back at 13:49 or 1:49. I called Landon Bubba Turner, redacted. He was identified by Paul Burlinghouse as having been present at his house the night before the crash and by the Flanagans as one of Davian's friends. He did not answer. I left a voicemail requesting a call back. And according to Landon's parents, Davion lived with them for about 4 months, I guess after he got out of school or something, or maybe it was before he was going to senior year. I remember them saying something about that. So 1400, I reviewed an Excel document prepared by David Sims containing Mackenzie's text messages. The following stood out to me. Lines 3347 to 3354, the exchange took place on July 30th, 2022 at 1749 or 549. This is all 5 o'clock. Mackenzie, are Paul's parents going to be there? Rosie says no. Rosie, and they gone. And then Mackenzie, so hold on. I don't know what this means. Maybe it's 6:05 and 38 seconds. So these are just the seconds here, but this would be 6 something. So Mackenzie, do you think it's cool to trip there? Rosie, yeah. Mackenzie, okay, I'm trusting you. Rosie, his parents aren't tweaks like Bubba. And then Rosie, they would probably let him have people over. And then I remember when I listened to the thing with Landon or Bubba, his parents were mad because Bubba actually had a bunch of people over at the house and she was furious. She wanted them out. So anyway, there's just so much going on with these kids. It's all intertwined at this point. Okay, so then lines 3396 and 3408. So this will be like 1006, 1007, 1008. Okay, so you get it. It's military time. Rosie, I'm gonna be at Paul's by 11. And then Rosie again, could we still buy off Dom? If you guys want a trip, you should just come hang for a little smoke or whatever. And Mackenzie, okay, bet. Do you need basically a mushroom emoji? And then Mackenzie, we might come. And then Rosie, yes. And then Rosie, me, Paul, Nina, and Bubba need them. And then Rosie and some Bud. Line 3418 at 1028. Rosie, and so we want $40 worth of Bud, and Bubba wants 3, and I want 2.5. Nina wants 1.5, and Paul wants 2.5. So I don't know if this is grams, if this means like the actual mushroom count. I'm not sure, but whatever, you know. Line 3442. This will be like at 1:30 in the morning. Hold on. Yeah, I guess no. I guess it'd be actually after midnight. I'm sorry, I'm messing this up. So 12:30 and 32. The last reported activity on Mackenzie's phone was about that time. Let me make sure I'm right on military time. What is midnight? I just want to be accurate. What is midnight in military time? Okay, so the double, like the double zeros or 2400, it is pronounced 0 100 hours. So 0:30, that's what that means. Like right here, 0:30. Okay, August 23rd, 2022, 9:48. I spoke with Christine Russo to update her on the status of the investigation. I confirmed the APA troop and I will meet with her in the next few weeks in order to obtain screenshots and messages she's been receiving from Mackenzie and her mother. Most notably, Miss Russo mentioned for the past year, Mackenzie had been living with Dominic as opposed to living with her parents. Also, Miss Russo provided a phone number for one of Dominic's lifelong friends. His name is Thomas Blair Wallace, and he goes by Blair. So I was watching something else this morning. Christine Russo, the mother, the day that she was informed of the crash, so I guess the 31st or the 1st, whichever day it would have been that next morning, I guess the 31st. She said, what did she do to him? So she already knew Mackenzie was somehow involved with the boy's death. That's pretty sad. She said that she didn't like that Mackenzie was ever driving. So she already knew, she already had a clue. I mean, it's just kind of crazy. So anyway, let's go on. So at 10:45, Mackenzie's application for a driver's license, and this goes into the POTS thing. So it says, I called Ohio Bureau of Motor Vehicles investigator Michelle Rominski. I'm hoping I'm saying these people's name right. I'm not trying to be disrespectful because I know people get upset. But anyway, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'll say Rominski and then redacted. I'm sure these are phone numbers about Mackenzie's application for driver's license. I inquire whether Mackenzie in her application listed whether or not she suffered from a condition that would affect her ability to drive. My suspicion arose after reading in Mackenzie's school records about her November 2017 POTS and DMDD diagnoses. Rominski was able to review Mackenzie's application dated April 22nd, 2021, application number VH556936, and told me that she answered no to the following questions. Hold up. I gotta take screenshots because we're trying to just make sure we're accurate. All right. So she said no to the following questions. whether she suffered from a condition that resulted in episodic impairment of consciousness or loss of muscle control, whether she suffered a physical or mental condition that prevented her from exercising reasonable or ordinary control of a vehicle, and whether she was chemically dependent on alcohol or drug of abuse. Hold on, or drug of abuse, or currently using alcohol or drug of abuse. I don't know what that means. Maybe he's saying it incorrect, but all right. Shortly thereafter, Raminsky emailed me a PDF of Mackenzie's application for driver's license. The document has been digitally added to the network folder, and a hard copy enclosed in the case jacket. A certified copy could be obtained should it be needed for court. At 11:55, I called Blair Wallace. Excuse me. He did not answer, and I was unable to leave a voicemail because the mailbox was full. 11:57, I called Landon Turner for a second time. He did not answer. I left a voicemail requesting a call back. So now they're stonewalling. 12:22, I called Natalie Blaha for a second time. She did not answer. I left a voicemail requesting a call back. At 13:15, Sergeant Ryan Fox, redacted of the Ohio State Highway Patrol's reconstruction team, called me regarding the email I sent him on August 8, 2022, regarding the braking discrepancy. Sergeant Fox explained to me that the raw data would still need to be analyzed before he could provide a conclusive answer and explanation. And so at 3:04, this was 1 something, so 1:15, 3:04. I called Blair for a second time. The call went directly to his voicemail. I was unable to leave a voicemail or message because his mailbox was full. At 19:10, Blair called back and left me a voicemail requesting to change the interview time to Friday, August 26, 2022 at 200, so 2 o'clock hours at basically this address in Strongsville. I think he was the only one that didn't come out of the station, but they did that at his, I believe, his home. So this was at 7:10. So August 25th, 2022 at 10:53, I called David Tyler Proctor. He did not answer, and I was unable to leave him a voicemail. 11:46, I called Blair back and reconfirmed the scheduled change. We will be meeting on Friday, August 22nd, 2022 at 2 o'clock. So then this is, again, I'm so confused. 15. So 3:30, APA Troop and I met at SPD. I updated him on the status of the investigation thus far and provided him with the hard copy containing a copy of the digital case folder with all its contents. See, to me, it's already like they've done a thorough job on this. I mean, people are coming forward and saying things, you know. So August 26, 2022, 8:26, I called Mackenzie's attorney, Brad Kofel, at that number to request an official interview with her. Huh? Okay. Upon asking Kofel if he was Mackenzie's legal counsel, he said no. He explained that he referred her to an attorney in the Cleveland area. Kofel asked that I email him at brad@kofellaw.com all my contact information so he can pass the message along. At 8:46, I sent the following email to Brad Kofel. Thank you for taking my call this morning. I would really appreciate it if you would be kind enough to pass along my request for a formal interview with Mackenzie Shirilla. You may forward the message to her family and their legal counsel. A printout of the email was digitally attached to the network folder. 8:49, I called Landon Bubba Turner to schedule an interview. He answered and agreed to a phone interview later today between 11:15 and 11:30. 9:30, I called Deanna Fosnight, David Tyler Proctor's mother, to inquire whether she delivered the message from August 22nd, 2022, to have him call me. Deanna said she had. In fact, she said she was shocked to know that Tyler had not called me back yet. She opined that he might be worried about getting Mackenzie in trouble and wanting to save face in front of his circle of friends I stressed the importance of the information he possessed for my investigation, particularly about his relationship with Mackenzie, especially given the fact that she, Deanna, relayed details about Mackenzie's relationship with Tyler pertaining to the infliction of bodily harm. What? I further explained to her that should Tyler not cooperate, the prosecutor will likely get him directly involved and subpoena Tyler as a material witness. So hold on, what is he saying here? I stress the importance of the information he possessed from my investigation, particularly about his relationship with Mackenzie, especially given the fact that she, Deanna, relayed details about Mackenzie's relationship with Tyler pertaining to the infliction of bodily harm. So she was abusive to that guy too. I mean, she's just got issues. So 9:45, I called Captain Tanya Zach, I guess, with the Parma Heights Police Department to request assistance in identifying a forensic mechanic to help with the inspection of the Toyota. Of the Toyota. Captain Zach provided me the contact information for Mark Sargent, redacted. Sargent is a forensic mechanic with Fire and Explosion Consultants, LLC. She also requested a copy of the EDR document with my contact information emailed to her. Immediately after hanging up, I emailed her the requested information. 10:28, I received a phone call from Stephen McGowan, redacted. He's a local attorney representing Mackenzie. After introductions, he asked about blood and urine tests. I did not answer questions except for officially requesting to interview Mackenzie. I provided him APA Troop's name and office number should he want to know more details about the case. 10:53, Captain Zach called me to let me know that since the vehicle driven by Mackenzie was a 2018 Toyota, I would be able to obtain, with a court order, the Toyota's engineering report from a local Toyota dealership. Okay. 11:24, I called Landon Turner for our agreed upon phone interview. He did not answer. I left him a voicemail requesting a call back. 11:50, Detective Lieutenant Mason called Mark Sargent to inquire about the process of retaining his services for the forensic inspection of the Toyota. Pertinent information was obtained to enroll Sargent's company as a city vendor for payment purposes. 12:02, Mark Sargent called me. We have tentatively agreed to conduct a forensic exam on the Toyota on Tuesday, August 30th, 2022 at approximately 9 o'clock, pending the approval of the search warrant. He also requested I email his assistant at huntervia@fecfire.com the OH1 report and the EDR report. Shortly after, I emailed the requested documents. So 12:15, a phone interview, Mr. and Mrs. Flanagan. I called Mr. and Mrs. Flanagan and updated them on the status of the case. During our conversation, I inquired about Davian's cell phone. I asked them who owned it, who paid for it, and who paid the bill. The Flanagans confirmed that Davian paid for the phone and the monthly bill, and he was the sole owner of it. I informed them of my intent to search the phone for text messages, calls, or recordings, particularly on Snapchat, beginning July 31st, 2022 until 5:40 hours. I further explained the reason behind the search would be to identify recordings, messages, or calls that might shed light on what was happening inside the vehicle from the time they left Brushwood Lane until the crash and possibly the party. Both Mr. and Mrs. Flanagan explained that they wanted to know the truth. Next, I inquired whether Davian's best friend, Landon Bubba Turner, had been in contact with them. They both stated that immediately after the crash, he requested and was granted permission to walk through Davian's bedroom as means of seeking closure. When I informed them that Landon was not cooperating with the investigation, they mentioned that Landon had told them about an encounter he had with Steve Shirilla at the hospital when he was visiting Mackenzie. According to Landon, Steve looked him in the eye and asked him to help him save his daughter. I also informed the Flanagans about the situation with Metro Health regarding Mackenzie's blood vials and subsequent search warrant for the vial at the blood bank. Finally, I told them that APA troop was aware of the situation. Hold on. Oh, that's so Steve Shirilla is trying to basically cover for his daughter. Isn't that nice? Wow. That's crazy. Okay, so interview with Thomas. This is at 2 o'clock. Interview Thomas Blair Wallace. I arrived at this address in Strongsville for the interview. The homeowner attorney, Andrea Maria, or excuse me, gosh, Andrea Marie Griffiths invited me inside. Okay, so this is an attorney's office. Moments later, 20-year-old Thomas Blair Wallace, who goes by Blair, arrived accompanied by his mother, Christina Noel Wallace. Blair told me he had known Dominic Russo for approximately 4 to 5 years after having met while attending the Strongsville High School. Blair stated he used to communicate with Dominic on a daily basis, and Blair described Dominic as one of his best friends. When asked if Dominic ever confided in him about his or Dominic's relationship with Mackenzie, Blair asked that I be more specific. I narrowed the scope of the question by asking if he knew whether Dominic and Mackenzie got along, whether they fought, whether Dominic expressed that Mackenzie was crazy, or whether he was afraid of being around her. Blair said no. Blair informed me that the last time he had communicated with Dominic was the day of the crash. He further explained the communication was in the form of a message around 2200 hours, 10 o'clock, July 30th, 2022. The communication did not reveal where Dominic was. In terms of the content of the message, Blair said Dominic thanked him for kicking it with him because they hung out together earlier in the day. According to Blair, the conversation did not include any complaints about Mackenzie. In describing Dominic and Mackenzie's relationship, Blair was unable to provide enough details to shed light on the relationship. I asked him if they displayed affection publicly or if they bickered in front of people, and he said no. He also denied seeing them fight or argue. Furthermore, Blair said Dominic never expressed concern to him about his safety around Mackenzie or about her driving. Upon asking if he was ever a passenger in a vehicle operated by Mackenzie, Blair said once. When asked if he felt safe while she was driving, he said, yeah. According to him, he was not in fear of his life or regretful of being a passenger while she drove. Additionally, Blair said he never heard either Dominic or Mackenzie ever talk about suicide, and Dominic never expressed fear of Mackenzie or any indication that she was suicidal. I asked Blair if he heard from Dominic any time after their last communication on July 30th, 2022 at 2200 hours. He said Dominic called him FaceTime on July 31st, 2022 at approximately 2:41 hours. Blair did not answer because he was asleep. Blair confirmed it was unusual and out of the ordinary for Dominic to call around that hour. Blair also told me that Mackenzie had been trying to get in contact with Blair through Christine Rousseau since the crash. Blair did not know why Mackenzie had been trying to contact him. He also mentioned Kyle Smith of Lakewood as being another one of Dominic's friends who received one of the I love you text messages before the crash. According to Blair, between 2:41 and 3:30 hours, Dominic reportedly sent I love you text messages to his mother, father, and brother. On advice of his counsel, he did not give me Kyle's contact information. Blair said it was not unusual for Dominic to say I love you to his friends, but it was unusual for him to say it to Kyle and his father. Regarding Mackenzie, Blair said he had known her through Dominic for approximately 3 years. The approximately 17-minute interview was audio recorded on my body cam with permission from the homeowner, Miss Griffiths. Throughout the interview, I noticed Blair was reluctant to share information. He seemed reserved and quiet. I explained to Blair that Dominic's mother was the one who directed me to speak with him because he was Dominic's best friend. and knew him best. After providing him with my card and contact information, I encouraged him to share it with his friends who might be able to help. August 27, 2022, 10:40, I called Metro Toyota at that phone number located at 13775 Brook Park Road in Brook Park, Ohio, and asked to speak with the general manager. The receptionist identified him as Ken Schneider. Mr. Schneider did not answer. I left him a voicemail requesting a call back. August 29, 2022, at 10 o'clock, Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas, Judge John Russo signed the following warrants: Toyota forensic examination and Mackenzie's medical records from August 5th, 2022 until her discharge. At 10:30, search warrant service, Metro Health medical records number 2. Detective Glover and I served the second medical search warrant to Debbie Shiroke. I guess that's how you say it, at the Metro Health Office of Medical Records. I also confirmed that she had my email address where I would need the records emailed to. 11:15, Detective Glover and I met with Ken Schneider, the general manager at Metro Toyota. Mr. Schneider confirmed being able to download the engineering report with a court order. 11:54, I called Mark Sargent and informed him that the search warrant for the forensic inspection of the Toyota was approved. We confirmed the appointment for Tuesday, August 30th, 2022 at 900 hours at 9 o'clock. 12:12, Detective Glover CC'd me to an email he sent to Apple Inc., containing a search warrant from Mackenzie's iCloud account. The search warrants were digitally attached to Detective Glover to the network folder. Refer to Detective Glover's investigation for more details. At 1300 or 1 p.m., I emailed Mr. and Mrs. Flanagan requesting permission to access Davian's cell phone, even though they lack standing given that he paid for it and for the monthly bill. Less than 20 minutes later, Scott Flanagan replied stating, "You have the written permission of both Jamie and myself to access Davian's cell phone for the time frame you mentioned. Please let us know if there's anything else you need from us and have a great rest of your day." So they're eager. They don't want to know what the hell happened to their son. I'm not saying that the Russos don't. It's just I don't know. This whole case is just pretty crazy. And then just the way Mackenzie's parents are, they're just disgusting to me. And it's just my opinion. I could speak my mind. Okay, so 125 Berea Municipal Court Magistrate Christopher Green signed a court order for the Toyota engineering report. 1340, so 140. I forwarded the reply I received from Scott Flanagan to the City of Strongsville IT Director David Sims requesting assistance in accessing the data from July 31st, 2022. A digital copy of the email was added to the network folder and a printout is in the case jacket. At 2:04, I emailed the court order to the general manager of Metro Toyota, Ken Schneider. A digital copy was attached to the network folder. At 2:14, I emailed the Flanagans inquiring about Davian's cell phone passcode. David Sims informed me that since the phone was an Apple iPhone, it would not be possible to access it without possibly having it send it to Israel for processing. Oh my goodness. 2:29, I received a call from Ken Schneider informing me that the engineering report, wow, that's pretty quick, was ready for pickup. We agreed that I will pick it up on Tuesday, August 30th, 2022. For 2:47, Scott Flanagan emailed me stating we do not have his passwords for his phone as he was intensely private in his dealings with us. However, one of his best friends, Kyle Harper, has a facial unlock on Davian's phone. We will reach out to Kyle and have him contact you so that you can set up a meeting. Oh, that's kind of cool, I guess. Okay, August 30th, 2022, 8:53, search warrant service, Toyota forensic exam. Detective Lieutenant Mason, Detective Vanek, and I met with Mark Sargent, the vehicle expert who works for Fire and Explosion Consultants, LLC. A sergeant was retained by SPD to conduct a forensic inspection of the vehicle pursuant to a search warrant signed on August 29, 2022. After providing Sergeant, with the copy of the search warrant for his records, he began photographing the vehicle. Due to heavy precipitation, it was decided to delay the actual inspection of the vehicle till noon. At 10 o'clock, Metro Toyota documents. I arrived at Metro Toyota and obtained the following documents. The engineering report was not included. Ken Schneider advised me to contact Toyota HQ. He provided me the following documents: the vehicle search history, the technical instructions for the safety recall 21TA09, and documentation showing the recall was completed on Shirilla's vehicle. 10:08, Kathleen Dunham from Cuyahoga County Judge John Russo's office left me a voicemail requesting a callback. Upon calling her back, she said Judge Russo wanted to talk to me. And 10:17, lab results. Psilocybin. I get that mixed up all the time. I don't know why. Detective Glover informed me that the drug chemistry laboratory final report was emailed to me from the CCME's office. The report, which was dated August 26, 2022, indicated that he submitted substances. Net weight was 6.91 grams, plus or minus 0.1 grams, at a coverage probability of 95.45%. And the substance was determined to be psilocybin, Schedule 1. A hard copy of the report is enclosed in the case jacket, and a digital copy was added by Detective Glover to the network folder under the file lab results. 10:47, Judge Russo, who signed all but one of the search warrants for this case, called me. He inquired if I had used the application Burla for the vehicle. Judge Russo provided me the name of U.S. Marshal David Styler for further inquiries. At 11 o'clock, Debbie Sharrock from Office of Medical Records at Metro Health emailed me Mackenzie's medical records from August 5th, 2022 until her discharge date. The 220-page PDF document was digitally attached to the network folder. So the summary medical report number 2, August 5th, 2022 until discharge. This medical report or records report was the second one received from Metro Health Medical Center. The first report covered July 31st, 2022 until August 4th, 2022. The second report covered August 5th, 2022 until the discharge date. Both reports were pursuant to 2 separate search warrants. The following stood out from the second report. Page 1 of 220. Page 1 of 220. On August 19th, 2022, at 11:02 hours, Dr. Adrienne Lee wrote, does state she wants to die, but denies any active plans to harm or hurt herself, feels grief over loss of her boyfriend, Dom, who was a passenger in the MVC. Page 10 of 220. On August 19th, 2022 at 12:45 hours, Tyler Belanovic, an occupational therapist, a registered license, wrote, patient makes continued statements of depression and why did this happen to me? Mom and dad both acknowledge her feelings and assist with making patient feel better. Page 28 of 220. On August 12th, 2022, at 13:46 hours, Dr. Leon Ray White documented the following under the hospital course section. And this is August 6, 2022. Patient insisting she goes to her deceased boyfriend's funeral on 8/7, threatens to leave against medical advice or harm herself if she is not allowed to go. Multiple attempts to redirect and reason with her were unsuccessful. Page 47 of 220. On August 15th, 2022 at 2:15, Matthew Koshar, an art therapist, documented the following in his narrative notes section. Patient stated she would be interested to attempt coloring, then declined due to focus on her grief. Patient then became tearful, processing heavy loss and depression since her accident, and patient shared feelings of grief, guilt, and shame. Patient stated she wanted to, harm herself and that it was her fault for killing her boyfriend. Patient 48 of 220 on 8/16 at 22, like 10:42 hours. Dr. Elizabeth Drebin noted the following. Prior to the accident, she was living for the last few months with her boyfriend of 4 years, who was killed in the accident along with another friend. Same date and time by Dr. Drebin. Diagnosed Mackenzie with acute stress reaction and grief. She also noted the following: mental health history, reports some history of anxiety, had some past counseling, and was on Zoloft for about a year. She did not feel either was helpful, and at this point, if firm about not being on, if firm about not being on psych meds. At 12:15, Detective Lieutenant Mason, Detective Vanek, and I met with Mark Sargent, I didn't sleep well last night, to complete the inspection of the vehicle and refer to Detective Vanek's investigation. At 13:05 or 1:05, Detective Glover informed me that Snapchat complied with the search warrant and provided approximately 6 files of data. The files were downloaded by Detective Glover and were digitally attached to the network folder. At 1:29, I emailed Mark Sargent the documents I obtained from Toyota pursuant to the court order. The two documents were the service record and information about the recall. He suggested we wait to review the EDR analysis before obtaining the engineering report. At 2:57, I emailed APA Troop asking about the disposition of the Toyota. In short, I informed him about the forensic exam that was conducted on the Toyota. I also sought input on the final disposition of the car. It's in a damn junkyard. So that some bitch was cut in half. Okay, August 31st, 2022, so a month later, at 8:50, I ran the Toyota's plate, JIB 3692, through the Leonardo license plate reader, or LPR, and then a Microsoft Excel report was generated and digitally attached to the network folder. Probably was all the big old list of stuff. So 9:09, I emailed the Flanagans wanting to know if they were able to make contact with Kyle Harper, who's reportedly able to access Davion's phone using his face. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Flanagan replied stating his parents are discussing it with him today, but much to our disappointment, they were hesitant to involve their son and didn't want to disrespect Davion's privacy in their initial talk with us. We obviously advocated for our son and reassured them that you were only looking for evidence that will help clarify the events that happened prior to the crash. We're hopeful that they will change their mind and do the right thing, but it certainly can't be counted on at this point. We'll definitely keep you updated when we hear back from them. At 9:13, I called Landon Bubba Turner. He did not answer. I left him a voicemail requesting a callback and letting him know that I will be calling his athletic director and or head coach, football coach at Marietta College in Ohio. I've been to Marietta. It was a nice little town in Ohio. It has a super cute hotel and all that stuff. It's right off the river. Me and my daughter went because I wrote a book a few years ago and just need a little more inspiration, get an idea of the area. So at 10:37, I returned the following search warrants, which were signed by Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas, Judge Nancy First, I guess. They were scanned and uploaded to the network folder. Mackenzie's Snapchat account, the Toyota forensic examination, Mackenzie's medical records from August 5th, 2022 until her discharge. At 2:02 to 2:09, Jamie Flanagan sent me four more emails containing passcodes that she thinks might enable me to access Davion's cell phone. And then at 2:48, Scott Flanagan emailed me to let me know that Kyle's father contacted him to let him know that he will allow Kyle to attempt accessing Davian's phone using the facial recognition feature. And then at what time is this? At 3 o'clock, using the passcode redacted provided by Miss Flanagan in her email dated August 31st, 2022 at 14:02 hours, I was able to access Davian's cell phone. A copy of the email was digitally attached to the network folder. The information was passed along to David Sims. September 2nd, 2022, at 1:50, Attorney Jim McDonald, redacted, left me a voicemail stating he was representing Mackenzie Shirilla and wanted to discuss the case. I called him back shortly thereafter and left him a voicemail informing him that I would be out of the office until Thursday, September 8th, 2022. I emailed APA Troop about the voicemail exchange. September 5th, 2022. So this is at 2:18. I hope we get a bombshell here. Data from Davian Flanagan's phone. I reviewed contacts or contents from Davian's phone in the Excel spreadsheet prepared by David Sims pursuant to the consent to search Davian's parents. By Davian's parents. I noticed under the searched items tab that on July 30th, 2022, at approximately 12:15 p.m., a person using Davian's cell phone typed the following into the search engine. How long does it take for acid to kick in? So they left the spelling error in place or whatever. The spreadsheet is digitally attached to the network folder under the tab Davian Flanagan. Okay, so how long does it take for acid to kick in? And that was at 12:15. A PDF report of Davian's phone was comprised of 11,074 pages. My interest in reviewing contents from Davian's phone stemmed from reports that he was texting with someone at approximately 5:30 hours on July 31st, 2022, just before the crash. Also, it was brought to my attention that Davian liked to record events and people around him. I was curious to know whether he recorded anything from inside the Toyota from the time he, Mackenzie, and Dominic left Brushwood Lane until the time of the crash. The following are my observations. Davian did not receive any phone calls between July 30th. Dang, I wish I could talk. July 30th, 2022 at, what is this, 6:51, and July 31st, 2022 at 8:11 hours. The last phone call he received and answered prior to the crash was from his sister, Divine Flanagan, on FaceTime on July 30th, 2022 at approximately, what is this, 6:16? I'm so confused. Yeah, it says 6:16 hours. According to Mr. and Mrs. Flanagan, when Divine called Davian, she and the rest of her family were shopping in North Carolina and wanted to know what to get him. Divine called Davian again at 6:51. The status of that call, according to Davian's phone log, was listed as missed. So hold on. So what you doing? And I don't know what this means because this is Davian and then it's me and then chilling in the mountains. You feel me? Bruh, hold up. This S is so effing hard. Damn. WTF, that go crazy. I don't know. Maybe he's talking about the whatever, the psilocybin. Bro, we walked like 2 hours in a thunderstorm. Okay, so this is the sister. And then, bro, we walked like 2 hours in this thunderstorm in the dark in the middle of the park. Cole said he saw a mountain lion. I'm gonna miss you, dude. I guess that's who he's talking to. I don't know. I'm so confused now. So the last instant message he received was on July 31st, 2022 at 5:01 p.m. from this number. The content of the message and the owner of the phone remain unknown as they have no bearing on the investigation. No recordings from the party at Paul Burlinghouse on July 30th, 2022 were present. No recordings, audio or video from inside the Toyota on July 31st, 2022 between 5:30 and the time of the crash were present. The last known time Davian reportedly used his cell phone was on July 31st, 2022 at approximately 5:30, shortly before the crash, and based on a screenshot provided by his friend Tyler Croy on August 2nd, 2022, Davian exchanged messages with Croy using the social media application Snapchat. The exchange was initiated by Davian at 4:05 hours on August 11th, 2022 at 2:37 hours. Detective Glover interviewed Croy, referred to Detective Glover's investigation regarding the interview. The document can be found under the Witnesses tab in the network folder. September 6, 2022, 12:47 APA troop informed me that per Mackenzie's attorney, she will not be giving us a statement. Clamming up because she knows she's guilty. Hold on, I need to drink. Okay. So we're at September 7th, 2022 at 6:27. I called David Tyler Proctor. He did not answer. I was unable to leave a voicemail because the mailbox was full. At 18:28, I called Landon Turner. He did not answer. I left him a voicemail requesting a callback. It is worthy to note that this was the fifth time I called and left voicemails for Turner to call me back. Of course, he's stonewalling because of what Steve told him. Help me save my daughter. September 9th, 2022, 10 o'clock, Detective Glover and I met with APA Troop and his supervisor, John Costco. We briefed Mr. Costco on the status of the investigation. At 11:56, Detective Glover and I called Scott Flanagan. I informed him of my intent to search all of Davian's cell phone content. Flanagan did not object. In fact, he said he and his wife support our efforts to uncover the truth about the crash. Flanagan mentioned that his wife, Jamie, had heard from Strongsville High School kids that Dominic was known to traffic, was known, I don't know how that, he added an A in there. Okay. Was known to traffic in drugs and guns. We explained to them that a separate investigation could be opened at the conclusion of the crash investigation. We agreed to meet with the Flanagans on Friday, September 16th at 2022. 12:36, Frank Russo, redacted, call me. He identified himself as Dominic's father. He asked about the status of the investigation. I told him it was still in progress. He wanted to know when it would be complete, and I told him I could not give him an answer. At 1:57, I emailed Mark Sargent regarding a status update on his report. His assistant replied shortly thereafter to let me know that she was finalizing the report. At 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock, Toyota Camry moved to SPD. Detective Lieutenant Mason and Detective Vanek supervised the transfer of the Toyota from the center towing impound lot at 847 South Marks Road to a storage bay at the Strongsville Police Station. Detective Vanek photographed the vehicle and used the department's drone to video record it. Its condition before and after the transfer, and referred to Detective Vanek's investigation. At 3:54. Dang it, I'm getting this all mixed up. Mark Sargent, via his assistant Hunter Vela, emailed me a PDF copy or document, good grief, containing the result of the Toyota's forensic inspection. A hard copy was enclosed in the case jacket under the vehicle report tab, and a digital copy was attached to the network folder. Forensic inspection report, a Toyota Camry. The 7-page report was digitally signed by Mark Sargent after an inspection of the vehicle on August 30th, 2022, pursuant to a search warrant signed day prior. Sergeant outlined the process by which he went about conducting and documenting the examination of the subject vehicle. Ooh. He listed the documents he had reviewed in preparing the final report. In short, Sergeant opined at the bottom of page 6 that although the examination of the subject vehicle revealed impact-induced damage to the steering, suspension, braking system, engine, and throttle systems, no evidence of fault or defect was found that may have caused or contributed to the inability to control the vehicle. With no accident, Sergeant concluded that the Toyota was free of defect at the time of the event and showed no evidence of a malfunction causing or contributing to the event. It is worthy to note that on page 5 of the report, Sergeant addressed the presence of Mackenzie's slipper on the accelerator pedal. He noted that the slipper in and of itself would not have resulted in any type of unwanted throttle application. The slipper was solely stuck by the deformation of the floorboard that surrounded the accelerator assembly as a result of the impact event. I'm sorry, I keep yawning. We're almost done. On page 1, I noticed a minor error whereby Sergeant documented that the crash had occurred on July 21st, 2022, instead of July 31st, 2022. Consequently, on September 29th, 2022, at approximately 11:34 hours, I emailed Sergeant's assistant and requested they correct the error. September 19th, 2022, at 9:30, text messages between Christine Russo and Mackenzie. I reviewed text messages that were exchanged between Mackenzie and Christine Russo. The following stood out, and I've already done this on another vehicle, but let's go ahead and go through this one. So at 9:23, 2020, at 5:36, Russo, just let shit go for now. Lay low, please. It will be all right. And then 12:28, 2020, at 10:48 hours, Mackenzie, Dom is saying he wants to hurt himself, and Russo, he's all right. And in a brat mode, hit his head on the wall. I don't know what that means. 1-2, January 2nd, 2021, at 12:06 hours, Russo, you need me to come here. Hold on. You need me to come here because I can't leave because Dom now shoved a towel in Tom's throat. I don't know what that is. Who's Tom? And then January 30th, 2021, 11:31 hours, Mackenzie, I was feeling all weird and having lots, I don't know, so I think she means lots of anxiety from withdrawal, and I just wanted to leave my friends, and I was begging him to get me, and he didn't get me. And then January 30th, 2021, Mackenzie, Dom is texting me being really crazy, so please keep an eye on him. I'm worried as if. And then January 31st, 2021, Mackenzie, I didn't mean to make him flip out. I just can't take him yelling at me all night and all day. Russo, I know you should have just hugged him. Mackenzie, I just couldn't. He's been too mean to me, and I couldn't take it. All I do is try to help him. And Russo, he's out of control, hates Chris. I feel so bad. Mackenzie, yeah, I tell him all the time. He just needs to go get some help, but he never listens. Russo, me too. And then Mackenzie, he would be so much happier. Russo, I'm going to take him to get his aluminum levels checked. I guess if you did your, hold on, body of them, it cures depression. I don't know. And that stuff, calling Monday, I have no idea what they're saying. Mackenzie, OMG, good. He really needs some help. I try really hard to help as much as I can, but most of the time it's not enough. And Mackenzie, it really hurts me to see him like this, and he acts like I want him to feel this way. Oh my goodness. Well, we're just gonna stop it here. That's about 16 pages of stuff. We're good for now, and then I'll come back to this on another vehicle. I gotta get up and do some stuff. So I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good one. Bye.